Welcome, everyone. Welcome this evening. I'm Janet Gordon, Director of Events at Behind the Chair. We're bringing you the amazing hair color guru and social media sensation, Guy Tang, this evening, and he's being joined by a very special guest, our Behind the Chair founder and creative director, Mary Rector-Gable. Mary, hi, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us this evening, and Guy, too.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Guy. Hey, Janet.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Good. I'm excited to get started.
Very excited. So we are here this evening. We have a few quick announcements we have to make with everyone. Doing a quick test here, though. I'm going to ask everyone to help me with, I have a signal on the control panel that says that the screen is not sharing. So it's taking a little bit longer than evening. And you see it, but if I advance, let's do this. Do you see our diploma? We do not, so bear with me for 1 second.
We're seeing your PowerPoint.
Yep. During the afternoon, there was a technical challenge when we were doing this, so we're trying to do what we were doing to fix it this afternoon when we did our test. So bear with me, everyone. We don't like.
I'll just say hi.
Happen.
Hi, everyone out in Behind the Chair land. And hey, there you go. It worked. It's lovely when technology works. Okay. So I just want to say hi, Janet and Guy. And actually, I was just with Guy a couple days ago in LA, and I had a great time. So, Guy, how are you? How's everything? You know, we are buried in snow in Chicago, and I bet that's not the case in LA.
No, it's not. The weather's here. Palm trees.
Palm trees. Lucky you. Lucky you. So we're so excited to have Guy with us tonight, and as many of you know, actually I was just sharing with Guy and Janet that I just finished my editor's letter just a few minutes ago. So magazine's going to press. You'll get it in about a week and a half for everybody that's been wondering where it's at. And it's all about transformations, and I was super excited because you're going to see something in a couple of slides that Guy's going to be on stage for us coming up soon, so I know that you're all going to be excited about that. But I was talking about how social media has had such a huge impact in the education business in our industry, and we've seen it really over the last year, and I don't think in our industry that there's been anybody from a colorist perspective that's had this kind of impact in our industry as Guy has. And so, Guy, I would love just for a second while Janet's walking through this, just to ask you that question. I mean, so from a social media perspective, I know you've got so many fans, and you're so open about the information as you call yourself a hair slut, and we know that's because you're trying everybody's products. Talk to us a little bit about that idea and what made you decide to kind of, we know that you love to educate, what made you decide to do it through this platform in social media?
Well, it's kind of like what I shared with you the other day. For me, it's I hate when I see products get discontinued, and every time I fall in love with a product, because nobody knows about it, because nobody knows how to use it correctly or something, and so then it goes away and I can't use it anymore. So I love sharing like products that I discover. So I didn't think anything of it when I did it, but when I start sharing it and I start seeing people message me and say, oh, I tried that product, I love it, it changed my life, thank you so much. And I go, oh, I didn't realize people actually listen to me, because I just show my results. I just show my results from it, and then people were thanking me for it. So I thought that was really, really cool. So I just love sharing. I'm really because I'm always trying every different brands, different products, because not one brand has everything I need. I feel like we have a lot of commitments in our lives, husbands, boyfriends, jobs, and whatever it is, we have to commit to it. But why do we have to commit to just one brand? And I know that it's hard to, it's hard for some people too, but for me, I could do it, and I enjoy it, and I discovered that there's certain products that work for certain types of hair better. So, like, I love Shade CQ, Reckon Shade CQ. That's like one of the products that if, I must have that. And then I love Illuminate. I love everything, because there's so many
I know things. You do. And I think that's what makes it so, I think it's what makes it so great, because for all of you out there, he really does use every product, and he's super honest about it. And I know that for those of you that are following him all the time, you know that that's the case. And I think I said on stage at the color show when we were all together at the panel, you know, that you're sort of the you know, Beth Minardi was, you know, was always, that's what we loved about her. And obviously she started her own product line and so forth. But that's what we loved is, you know, anybody that's so honest about sharing information and trying everything. And I think you sort of have become that, the experimenter, and you're sort of experimenting for everyone else, and then they're listening to, you know, to what you have to say. And I think that it's amazing because of the fact that you're so neutral, you know, with all of the brands. So I think everybody really appreciates that. I know one of the things that Janet's going to want me to say is that after this is over, everybody's going to be receiving an e-diploma. And then the other thing is, because we're entirely sold out for the webinar tonight, everybody will be receiving a playback tomorrow as well. So if for any reason we run long, which we probably will, know that you'll have the entire video on playback tomorrow along with the e-diplomas. I did want to just get that out of the way as well. So what you're seeing is pictures from our Color, Cut, and Style show. Guy, you joined us for the panel. Did you expect what happened at the show when everybody was surrounding you for pictures?
Well, I thought it was really cool. I was very flattered, and I think it's awesome to move people and to make people, to educate people on products that they didn't even know about. And what's cool is that it's not only them learning from me, but a lot of times I learn from them. I have people writing me like, oh, God, you should really try this. And I go, wait, I've never heard of that product. And so I end up trying it, and I go, whoa, and I end up wanting to share it with people, you know, kind of like your flamboyage that you have. So,
yeah, I know, it's a great product. It's cool.
I love that product, so I shared it. You know, it is what it is. And now the whole world gets to experience flamboyage, you know. So because sometimes when we use the same method or the same technique over and over again and you master it, it becomes very boring, you know. So I want to kind of like discover new ways to do things to bring excitement to people in the industry. You know, you know, it's like the other day I was telling you how a lot of those DIY people, consumers, I feel like a lot of times they don't respect hairdressers because, you know, stereotypes, rumors of, you know, bleach or whatever, they think it damaged their hair. They even make videos on it on YouTube, bashing their hairstylists, and I think that's unfair. That's unfair because they have no knowledge. Because of Google, they think they could Google every information and color their own hair, and I thought that's just not right. So through my platform, I just love educating people what hairdressers can do for them, going to a professional versus doing it yourself at home. So.
Well, and I also think that social media has gotten us to a point where we have so many colorists that are willing to be so experimental, and they love it. And I think that that's what's great. I think that, you know, you certainly have made a big impact on that. So I'm just going to say a couple more slides, and then we're going to jump into a really exciting class. So for all of you that are joining us now, I know you're still logging on. We have a different time tonight because Guy's on the West Coast, so we wanted to just go a little bit later for everybody on the West Coast as well. But the slide that you're seeing now is our Color, Cut, and Style 2015. We're super excited because Guy's going to be with us out there and also teaching a class for us out there. So for those of you that were at the Color Show, we had 2,400 sellout crowd 3 years in a row. And this year, and you're all the first ones to find out about it, we'll actually be having Saturday classes. So we'll be having look and learn classes. We'll be building out a separate stage, an additional stage, and so we'll be inviting some of the people that you've told us, artists that you've told us you want to see. So we'll be Saturday for classes, Sunday, Monday, our main giant stage again, our big LED screen, and that will be for color. And then Cut and Style will take place on Tuesday. And you'll be seeing a lot of information about this coming out, but save the date, September 27th to 29th. We're going back to the Big Easy in New Orleans, and you can either go to behindthechair.com/reflection, which is the theme of this year's show, and it'll be quite exciting when you actually figure out what this means, because we're not going to share it with you till you get there, but behindthechair.com reflection. And as we move on, so you check that out, and make sure to let us know. You can fill out something that allows us to be able to keep in touch with you. And again, if you missed the Color, Cut, and Style show this past year, it was pretty incredible, 13 hours of education from the world's most award-winning colorists and stylists. Guy, and you saw the whole panel of celebrity colorists were there with us. And again, you can get the DVD, which is a great DVD that is at the printer. We'll have it within about a week, so behindthechair.com/color-DVD. We have a couple more things we want to share with you before we get started. Would you just move on to the next one, and I'll Guy Tang. So we're super excited that, and again, you're all the first ones to find this out as well, that Guy, you haven't been on stage, what, in about 6 or 7 years? Like big stage in terms of doing color?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's been a while. So again, as I wrote in my editor's letter, social media is an amazing thing, but there's nothing like being in front of your audience. And so for the first time, we're really excited that we're going to be bringing Guy onto his own stage doing color in Chicago. So before our Stylist Choice Awards on Sunday evening, Guy will be there on Sunday afternoon doing the very first class we've done in years on stage. And I've got some prices that are up here as well. You can go to behindthechair.com/Chicago, and information is there for tickets. And again, you'll be seeing more and more information. We're still working on what the class description will be, but I'm assuming we'll be doing some ombre, corrective color, etc. Right, Guy? Is kind of what we're thinking.
Yeah, it's like going to a Beyonce concert, you know. So, you got to see her live. You got to see the performance, you know, not just listen to the CD, you know, or on iTunes. So I think sometimes live performance really gets you to engage and really see the experience, the live action.
Yeah, so excited about this too. And as you know, the Guy's not short on personality whatsoever, so I think we'll have a tremendous amount of fun that day, and really excited to bring him into Chicago. So tickets are now on sale as of today. And then the other one that we're bringing on Monday, she'll be on Monday after Stylist Choice Awards, the next day on the stage, will be Stephanie Brinkerhoff. And Stephanie is, for all of you that know her, over 5 million Pinterest followers, she is Hair and Makeup by Steph. The most incredible updos that you've ever seen. Again, this is actually Stephanie's very first time on a big stage. First ever, so we're super excited about bringing 2 of our social media darlings who are just absolutely just incredible in terms of the work that they're doing, and really super excited and proud to bring both of them to our stage during Stylist Choice Awards weekend for us. So again, you can go to behindthechair.com/Chicago and learn more about that. So here we go. Are you ready, Guy?
I sure am.
So, okay, so Tom, did you really do all these different colors? What a beautiful array and rainbow of colors.
I sure did. Yeah, I wanted to show the whole palette because I feel like people only know me for balayage, just the blonde. So I want to show, like, you know, I like playing with every color, as you can see.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I love that you're taking on corrective color in this, and clearly there are so many people that really want to understand corrective color. But I think, as you said, I kind of feel like what happened was Guy Tang became the ombre. You can move on to the next one, Janet. That's totally fine. So Guy was sort of, we all were kind of watching you as you progressed, and we saw this incredible ombre, and you just kind of kept on going with all these amazing colors, corrective color. But Guy looks like he's, 12 years old. He's not. He's in his 30s. I know he probably doesn't want me to tell you that. But you've been behind the chair now, what, 10 years? So 10 years it says behind the chair, right? And educator, platform artist for 7 years for company. And so he's been on, he's done a bit of the circuit before. And again, social media influencer. I remember you telling me a long time ago that when you were walking down the street, like there was something about the fact that you were really mad, as you were saying earlier, about how consumers were talking about hairdressers. And that was sort of your first impetus to sort of get involved in social media and starting to talk to hairdressers. Did you ever know that this would happen, that you would have this kind of following? And I know that Michelle Phan had a little something to do with that, but you can't take anything away from it. I mean, your personality, what you're giving. Did you ever think it would happen?
Maybe not like this, but I thought it was really cool when it happened.
Yeah.
I think it's needed. It's much needed just because it's keeping it real with real, I like to, I even have my audience, tell me what to use, and I'll use it, and I'll show them how it turned out. And I've never even used certain colors before, but I'll test it right in front of them and then go, here you go, take a look. This is how it turns out. Because it's not just about, like, woe is me, how much I know, but it's about learning together. So sometimes I I test the product and I show them the results. So it's about learning together. So it's a different interaction between me and my audience.
And look at that, 12.5 million video views, to 262,000 subscribers in the channels. Instagram, 400,000 followers. Again, you guys can all read this. It's quite incredible. And the interesting thing is, again, that I was writing today is so many of your clients are so excited about being models in your videos as well, and which is amazing. But it just we just want to show you the range, which is what he's done here, obviously, in terms of all kinds of color. And so we're excited to get started. So here we go, Guy. You ready to go? Because now I'm going to turn this over to you. So if we move on to the next slide. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Guy Tang, and you can take it away.
Hello. All right.
Yay. Go Guy. Go Guy. Go Guy.
Yes. Yes. So with this, I'm going to get started with sharing like step-by-step instructions. Now with color correction, it's always a different case scenario with every client. So when they come in, I diagnose the situation. And the way I book my time is, through when they call me, or is it through email or text or whatever it is, when they contact me, I need to know what their situation is. They send me pictures of their hair. I talk to them on the phone sometimes, so then I know how to book out my time frame for certain clients. Because some of my clients fly in from different countries and different cities, so it makes it very difficult for me to say, come back next week or come back tomorrow and I'll finish it. So I have no choice but to finish it all in one day because they fly in for this and they're flying back out. So I get stuck with that challenge. So sometimes I have no idea how thick these clients' hair are, and even pictures don't do it justice. Because even if I take a picture of the client's hair before, it just looks like, okay, it's hair. But when you actually look at it in person and grab it, I mean, some of my clients' hair are down past their hips. So when I say it takes me 9 hours, there's a reason why. So when I go into color correction, the consultation is the most important thing when they come in. I even charge for my consultation. I think that's very important because sometimes consultation can go past an hour, because they're bringing in pictures, they show you what they don't want, and they show you what they do want. And I also want to make my client feel safe. So I like to pretend I'm like their doctor. Sometimes I have to hold their hand, let them know it's going to be okay. That. And what's funny is that, I go over like the quotes of how much it could be and what it can start with and how much, it could get up to, because that's a lot of people's concern. They don't know how much. So I give them a range, and they tell me like, oh, well, this is their budget for this, so I tell them, well, I can't do all 12 hours, and you only, So to me, that's really important because I know there's lots of people out there, they ask me about how do I charge for these color corrections. Well, I charge per step, so if, and per color tubes and stuff like that too, so that's included. So if it takes, like 4 steps, I charge for those 4 individual steps. So it's almost like doing 4 clients a day. Or if it's like 7 steps, it's like doing 7 clients a day. So it actually, even though you're just focusing on one client, you're actually you're charging them for all of those steps. So at the end, the way you get reimbursed is actually pretty rewarding. Making them feel safe is the first and foremost, most important thing ever, because they don't question you. What they don't realize is during color correction, in between, it can have some scary moments. Some parts will turn like splotchy. Some parts can turn really muddy, because they don't realize sometimes you have to fill the hair. You have to deposit warmth or gold tones, and those are the things I have to tell them that could happen. So I tell them to bear with me through all those steps. So with that being said, I think we might be able to go to the next slide, right? Let's see.
What we're going to be working on tonight.
Several questions coming in about waivers. Do you have a form or a waiver sheet that you have these clients sign?
Of course, especially when it's something very, I like to say, invasive, because they come in with compromised hair. So I have to let them know that, this could happen. This could happen. We may have to cut 1 or 2 or 3 inches off. We may have to give them some layers around their face because they have compromised hair around there. Because honestly, our clients don't know. They don't know what shade of blonde they want even. So, but we'll go into that later on the last slide. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So I have this client, as you can see on the screen right now. She is from Russia, and she flew in for this, and I was like, oh my God, the pressure is on, because she flew all the way to come see me. And then she was like, I didn't realize how long her hair is. Looking at the picture, you don't realize how thick her hair is. It actually goes past the chair. Like, it hits almost the floor when she sits in my chair. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to take all night. So as you're looking, you can see zone 1, which is the regrowth. That's her natural color, which is considered a level 6. She wants my classic balayage ombre feel. And you can see in the middle section, there is like a brassy orange that has been lifted. So her base has been lifted before. Now this is where the problem is, that middle band where it's really bright. I call that the bright spot. That's very abrupt. And then in between that, you can see there's low lights coming in between. And then her ends are actually a little darker. If you look at her ends in between there, where my fingers are, her ends actually matches that top section mid-orange area. So her ends are actually pretty strong. It's more of the mid-section that I was concerned about. But, thank God I have Olaplex, so that helps a little bit. So going in, that helps me give reassurance. Now, this is a part you guys need to see on the next slide. When I lifted her hair up, okay, I work in some of the strangest lighting ever, because I have a window light outside my studio, which has sun. Then I have my studio light in the room, which has fluorescent. It's like horrible, ugly lighting. So when I lift her hair up, it looks green. I was like, oh my gosh, her hair looks like a green ash color. So I was like, well, it looks good in the sun. In the sun, it looks like a warm golden color. Then you go into the room, it turns green. I was like, Jesus, what am I going to do with this? So, and keep in mind, it's very thick. So this is an intense correction. Even when I put the before and after on my Instagram, people don't realize that the issues I work with, because you open up the inside, and then there's like spots in the inside, and you open up the side corner around the parietal, and there's splotches everywhere. And then all of a sudden we're having technical difficulty here. So let me go to another computer, because all of a sudden the screen shut off. So let me go on a different computer. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but all right. So my first formula, let's go back. There you go. Okay, so my first formula, I have to decide what I'm going to apply from zone 1 and 2, which is the regrowth and the mid-shaft. Okay, there is a difference between a demi-color that is alkaline and acidic. And this is why I carry so many different color lines, because some color lines have a demi, which is a deposit-only color line, but it could be only acidic. So sometimes I need an alkaline demi. What an alkaline demi is, it has the ability to shift the natural base. It's able to lift the base color up half to one level. So sometimes I need that for that diffusion effect, and it gives more of a satin finish versus a high gloss finish. So a lot of times for corrective work, I love using Dia Richesse with 15 volume, because it gives me a little shift in the base, so it actually blends the demarcation line a little bit better. I know Schwarzkopf makes one called Vibrant. That is also a alkaline demi, so I use that too, or Matrix Color Sync versus Gloss Sync, which is acidic. So I always tell my followers that, definitely read up on the demi and the technology, that's the color line that you're using, so you understand what it's capable of. Because sometimes when I'm toning, I tend to use acidic. But in this situation, it's corrective, so I use Dia Richesse 7.01, which is an ash color. Now, why did I use ash when her hair looks slightly green? Well, the difference between a Dia Richesse for me is I find that's a pretty blended tone. So there is that brown base, which is a 0, and then the 1 is considered the blue base. So it has a brown base to start with, and then it has the blue overtone. So there's ash, but then there's a pre-blend. So it gives me that stabilization. So even when I overlap that bright spot, as you can see on that right picture, that's the after, what it looks like after I did that first step, just to blur it down. And it looks messy and sloppy, but I tell my clients, just trust me. Okay, so you take a look at the ends now. What's really funny is after I pull that 7.01, that it doesn't look that light anymore. Her ends actually looks like a level 8, because that bright spot that was there earlier, it gives us the illusion that the hair was actually blonder than it appears. Now, I thought about actually balayaging her ends with the lightener at the same time, but because it's a color correction, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that's the route I want to take because I was concerned about the integrity of her hair. And for me, I'd rather separate the steps and be safe versus doing it all at once and have more corrective work. So sometimes you have to separate it, blow dry the hair, take a look. And in most situations, our clients will be happy with this already because it looks way better. It looks more gradient, as you can see, from dark to light. Some of our clients say, hey, this is perfect. I'll book an appointment next month. I'll come back and we could continue. That's fine. In most cases, sometimes I even do that. But like I said, this client flew in from Russia. I had no choice. So let's go to the next slide here. So, okay, so I chose to do the balayage. Oh, go back. We skipped too far. Okay, so I chose to do the balayage method here. And with balayage, with this one in particular, I did use Redken Flash Lift. The reason why is because it actually lifts 8 levels. It's actually stronger than most balayage lighteners that are out there, like Artigo or whatever, Sunlight, I don't know what people use out there. But a lot of times those are a little bit more gentle, and it only lifts up to an orangey color or yellowy color. So I need something that's strong but still have the consistency that spreads like the way I want to with a balayage lightener. So I use 40 volume with Olaplex, and the reason why is because 40 volume turns into a 30 volume when you use Olaplex. And Olaplex helps, as you guys know, Olaplex is one of my favorite products because it helps protect the hair. It multiplies the bonds in the hair, and every time I use it, I feel like I have control because I don't overlift to where it's gummy. So that's why I chose to mix Olaplex into this formula, and it also keeps the product moist when the balayage. When I don't use Olaplex, I find that sometimes it dries out, especially if I need heat source. So it'll end up drying out. And sometimes people would say, hey, it gets a little too liquidy when I use Olaplex. I just back up on the developer and mix less developer, so that way it thickens the product and the viscosity a little bit more, so it spreads better. Now, when I stroke the lightener on, I go in a V shape, as you can see here on the slide there. I go in the V pattern, and I do vertical strokes. So that way, in between, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a low light going through there. And the reason why is because if you look at on the previous slide, you can see that even though it blended, there's still a slight brass, and there's still a slight demarcation line. And I want to jag it up a little bit. So I chose to use Shape EQ Cream 7 NGR, which is a natural green ash color with 10 volume. And the reason why I chose cream over the gloss liquid is because the viscosity. It doesn't drip everywhere, and also it uses an oxidative dye. So understanding the difference between an oxidative dye versus like a direct dye is very important. Like Shape EQ gloss has a combination of both direct and indirect dye to give it that quick toning effect when you're toning it damp. It also has a dye that goes in that needs to be pre-formed once you mix it with the developer, and it has a dye that actually stains the surface on the outside of the hair. But with Shape EQ Cream, what I like is that it develops. So you need to give it that full processing time of 20 minutes to get the true tone result. And that's why I chose the Shape EQ Cream. It's definitely great for low lighting, so that's one of my favorites to use. And you need 10 volume because the dyes need to develop. With oxidative dyes, you need 10 volume always. And I stroke that through the center of each V, and I go from side to side as I work up the hair. As you can see, I divide the hair in half, and I just work up both sections. So I'll go from the left to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, versus just doing one side up, because then that'll fit in, and then the other side, it doesn't process and lift evenly. So keep in mind, her ends were kind of like still brassy. So even though I, overlap her hair, it's still fine because her hair was very strong. I saw how when you look at the hair, you could tell if the hair could still take it. So I knew that she wanted her hair pretty light. So anyway, Doing it together, low lighting and highlighting the hair, saves you so much time, and that's why I low light and highlight at the same time. And this is a great way by adding the low light color in the center. Now, in most cases, sometimes you need to lift the hair to different levels, so you don't necessarily have to use a dim light color in the center. You could use a permanent color with 20 volume or 30 volume or whatever. But in this case, because I only want deposit, I always deposit with a dim light color, always. So let's move on to the next slide. I chose to encapsulate the hair with saran wrap so it doesn't dry out. The thing about balayage is that a lot of people expect the hair to go so blonde, but the reality is balayage should look sun-kissed. It's designed to give you that natural hair. So if you have dark hair, it should look caramelized or chestnutty. If you have dark blonde hair, it should look like golden. But we're trying to push the boundaries now with these methods. We're trying to push the hair to its limits, especially when you're working on darker hair types, whether they be Latina or Asian or some sort where that usually have darker hair that have more red undertones to it. So we've been trying to push and push and push. And the one thing I might also want to add is that you need to have patience when you're doing these things. Like, let it process accordingly. I try to stay away from heat source as much as I can, just let it process at room temperature, because I find that the color lifts evenly. It all lifts, even though you start at the back and you end at the top, it just lifts evenly. But if you do need a heat source, I just place it on the top because the bottom has been sitting for a long time. And also using Olaplex, it gives me time. So even though I start in the back and I got to the top, because I put Olaplex in my formula, it gives me that reassurance that the bottom doesn't overprocess by the time I get to the top. And it also ensures that it lifts to, like that inside of a banana type of feel to get the right even tone throughout. So looking at these images on the right, when I pull out the saran wrap after it processed for 45 minutes, taking a look, it looks scary. It looks like tiger stripes. And the only reason why is because of the low lights you see. The low lights are in there, so it gives the illusion that it's like black and white stripes. But actually when you rinse it, because it's only a level 7, it actually fuses together. Now here's the trick. I still have that level 7 side of the bowl, so sometimes I emulsify that into the scalp area to diffuse the striping or anything like that. So I don't like to waste color. I actually take advantage of it. So if you're applying a base color at the top, like let's say you use a 6N with 20 volume to lift the base, I actually near the end sometimes I smudge that down to save product and also take advantage of it. So it helps create the diffusion a lot of the times with me at the shampoo bowl. I find that works really well with pre-blended color line. ISO eye color works great for that. Paul Mitchell color works great for that because it's more of a pre-blend. I wouldn't suggest using a color that's a true tone when it's like an ash, that's a gray base, it doesn't have a brown background color, and then you're trying to smudge that in. Sometimes it can turn the highlight gray or green, and that's the worst thing you want because you end up having another correction. So using a color line that is maybe you're lifting with a 6NA, but it's pre-blended with brown, you're able to smudge it in that last 5 to 10 minutes, and it creates a nice fusion. So with this, you can see.
If I could jump in real quick, several questions. Do you use any cotton at the root area to separate the sections, or is it all saran wrap between the sections?
It's all saran wrap. Sometimes I use cotton, and sometimes I actually love those BioLites that you guys have. I love those BioLites because I actually lay those in between because it's flat. And it just, honestly, I know it sounds funny, but our clients see me, they see us pulling out like these different things, and they're like, what is that? And they get excited because you're doing something different. And I said, oh, I'm isolating this section for you. And they're like, ooh. They get excited because they're seeing something different. And we think our clients don't take notice. Oh, they notice. They notice everything. And then, and that's what's really cool. And that's also what separates you from, anyone else too when you're using different tools. And getting our clients excited pretty much because it's not just how the end result looks, but it's also the experience. And during this time, it seems like 45 minutes is a long time, but I was eating. I was hungry. So I was making use of my time. I was cleaning the bowls. I was eating. and she was talking about her love life, and so it just went by really quick. And I'd rather keep my eye on her versus juggling a nail haircut in between, because I need to. This is a color correction. It's so important that I keep my eyes on her, especially if she's going back to Russia. So she can't come back the next day with my workaround, looking a mess. So, and remember, guys, for everyone that's listening, remember your client is not just a walking billboard, but it's your design. You want to be proud of it. You want to be able to sleep at night. So that's why I feel that it's a must to every time your clients leave. It doesn't matter whether they're a celebrity or not. It's important to treat your clients like they're all celebrities, because they are your walking billboard of your design. So I definitely think that's important. So let's go to the next slide.
And one last question, the sections, how wide are those sections?
Oh, yeah. Now, keep in mind, this client has extremely thick hair. So I would say it's like 1.5 inch in width. Usually I take thicker sections, like maybe even 2 inches apart, because I have finer hair. But with this client, I can't do that. And it's very interesting because with her, it's truly customized. You have to customize it accordingly to each client's head, because some parts of the hair could be finer. Usually the hair around the face is finer, or the hair at the nape is finer, but then the hair at the crown is insanely thick. So think about that, put that into consideration. So don't just take what you see here and just try to do it the exact same way. Just think about like customizing it according to each client's head, because some people are thicker, thinner, longer, coarser, wiry. Those things have to be taken into consideration as well. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so after I rinsed her out, I was like, woohoo, I'm going to be done. This is going to look great. And then I was like, oh, God. I look at the ends, and it's still, her ends are so resistant. And it could be from old colors, because I saturate the hell out of those ends, and it still, it has little splotches, and I could tell by looking at it live. And the picture is hard to tell. Pictures, you know how it is. But the best part is it's not green anymore, thank God. But just looking at it, I could tell that she has residual right there in the center of some old dye. It could be a box color, who knows. So I opted to just stroke the lightener only on the ends again. Now, okay, most people might look at me like I'm crazy, like you're overlapping pre-lightened ends. I could tell if the hair cannot take it. Her hair is strong. And she was actually like, oh, it's fine. It's better than what it was before, but I cannot let her leave like that. So I was like, no, honey, sit back down. We're going to go back in and lift you. And as you can see, I'm just putting it through the ends. And I would say in this particular manner, I didn't have a certain sectioning pattern. I actually just pick up the hair. Where I see yellow, I do a vertical stroke and swiping it through. And I did use a paddle board so I could apply pressure. And sometimes I use my hands in certain areas to swipe because I need more pressure from my hands. So this one is very freestyle. There is no method. But as you can see, you can still see her highlights on top because I emulsify everything in. It actually works in my favor. Like I said, when you use an ash color, make sure to understand the color line when you're using that ash, because some of them, they're pure ash tones. Like let's say you're using 09V or 09B from Shades EQ, it'll turn the hair gray, or 08GN, it could turn the hair green. So be careful when you're toning with those formulas. But if you're toning with something that has a pre-blended base or something, you're usually safe. I think 09N is a very safe choice for most people because it's ashy, but yet it's still neutral and it's not warm, but then it's not green-gray either. So that's like my go-to formula when I have an emergency. And I also mix Olaplex in here too because, you know, we're overlapping here. So I have to make sure that her hair doesn't like gray off or whatever. And I did give her a haircut in between. I trimmed it and texturized it. So I forgot to mention that, but that was also done. So, you know what? She's one of those clients that if you cut off like a centimeter, oh, my hair looks too short. Oh, my gosh. And I was like, honey, I only cut off a centimeter, you know. But she embraced her length. So, but I told her, like, girl, I need to. You know, you have no shape in that hair. You know, it's not going to look like my work until we shape it up, because it's not just about the color, but it's also about the shape and things like that. So upon consultation, make sure you let your clients know about those things too, because I'm telling you, they don't know. We're living in a day and age where we're all guilty of Googling everything. Like whenever I'm sick, I start Googling like my symptoms, and I think I know everything.
And then you're going to die, right? You're going to die. And then you're going to die.
Yeah, so we have to hold our client's hand and let them know who the professional is. Let them know there's a difference between us and the box color. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is what I did after I rinsed this one out. Okay, I think I treated her with the Olaplex. This is what I love about this mixture is I actually tone over the hair while Olaplex is still on her head. So I mix Olaplex with the water, 1.5 ounce and 3 ounces of water with warm water. I shake it up in a bottle, and I apply over hair. I let it sit for 5 minutes, and I towel blot because it's already soaked into the hair. Then I go in with 08 and tone those areas I still see stripes at, which is mainly around the hairline and maybe that part when I have to go back in and wipe through. You know, there's some slight marks that I don't like that I left. So I did the 08, and that is really fast. It tones the hair like really quick. So keep your eyes on that. I tend to always try to leave the toner on for the full time, usually 20 minutes. But in some cases, you know, with certain toners, like Kenra has a rapid toner that's 5 minutes, and I turn to that sometimes. But in this case, because Kenra's SV and VP toner tends to go really ashy, I wanted something that was a little bit more sheer. So I turned to Goldwell Express toner, silver level 10, and I left it on for about 5 minutes because it's an express toner. But after I rinsed it, I just wasn't happy with it. I was just like looking at it, and I think that we all, you know, we can tell. I mean, I don't care about how much products I have to use. I just care about it looking right. So ISO Illuminate is one of my favorites because it is very glossy, shiny, and it smells great, and it has a viscosity that I love working with. Now, the ash in ISO Illuminate is different than most ashes because it's not gray. It's not, I can't describe their ash. It has a slight warmth to it because it has like an N in it, which is like a natural. It has a little bit of a brown tone, but yet it's not warm. It depends on what light you're in. So I placed the 9A over her head, but I didn't want it to go too dark, you know. I mixed it with clear, and she does like a little bit of the highlighting effect that goes around her face, so I didn't want to mute everything, you know. So I left it on for 20 minutes because what I noticed that when I rinse it off too quick, sometimes I feel like the color doesn't look right. But when I just like bear with it, just leave it on for 20 minutes, sometimes it looks kind of scary while it's toning because it's starting to turn into distortion of colors, green and purple. You're like, oh my God, you pray that everything will come out right. But I find that if I just trust the process, trust the product, even though it's scary, leave it on and just, you know, make sure that it gets its full processing time. Everything will be okay. So I did that, and then I apply Olaplex number 2 all over, leave it on for 10 minutes because number 2 should go over after you tone the hair. And of course, you know, I did a posting recently on my the Goldwell Violet shampoo and conditioner because I love that. It's actually my favorite shampoo and conditioner for blonde hair that has a violet tone because it doesn't turn the hair gray or purple, and you can use it on a daily basis. Now, I do like certain shampoos, like Pravana's purple shampoo, that really is potent. It can turn the hair purple or gray, which is fine, but I find that over time when my clients use that and they come back, sometimes they have a greenish cast to it for some reason. I don't know, but it works. But what I like is that this purple shampoo actually feels soft. Most purple shampoos and conditioner make the hair feel dry, so this is something I love. And keep in mind, guys, this whole process took 9 hours. It sounds silly, but it's 9 hours. Taking into consideration of like processing time, the treatment of Olaplex for 10 minutes, and her long hair that has to blow dry several times. And, you know, honestly, to be honest, I think the blow dry time took longer than the application time. honestly. I mean, my back was hurting. So, you know, I was like, it took an hour to blow dry her hair. So in that case, you know, I think that one was done. So we're ready to move on to our next project here. Oh, look at that. So there's the before and after. Now,
Wow.
look at the before picture. You know what's funny? This before picture still looks pretty. It doesn't look that bad, but as you saw in the isolated sections, it looks horrible. But in this one, it looks pretty good. You know, I actually just have her stand by the window, so we have great window light there. So there you go. And that's a 9A finish, and it looks great. You still see the highlighted pieces up there, and she looks great. She looks great. And
Amazing.
Can you see how long that hair is?
I know. You could see it actually back on one of the last slides. You could see it going down the side of the chair. But that's this one right here. That third one, you can see how long it's crazy.
Go back one more, and you'll see how long it is. Like, look, do you see how it actually goes past the chair? That is long.
Crazy.
It's almost touching the floor. And you know what? It's so funny because I get accused of using extensions or whatever, but I don't. This is real. These clients do have long, thick hair, and it's cool. I love long, thick hair. I don't mind playing with it because it's more to work with, but it is a lot of work, you know. So I try to always think positive. Let me tell you how I turn it into a good thing. Don't think of it as a bad thing when you have a client with long, thick hair. Think about how you're working out. You know, you're burning calories when you're blow drying, you know. And then you turn it into a positive thing, you know. I'm burning calories. So.
Glass half full, glass half full.
And guys, did you blow dry at all in between the application of those various toners?
No, that one I didn't. I towel blot her hair. That toner that you saw after the Olaplex, I towel blot her hair. Then I placed the I believe it's the Express toner. Because that's a 5-minute toner, and it needs to be done quick, 5 minutes, and the hair absorbs it. And then I also want sheer coats. Sometimes she's the type of client that sometimes you know how when you gloss certain clients, it can go really, really dark, and then they freak out. She's those clients that prefer it to be lighter and sheer. So a lot of times when I gloss damp hair, I get more reflex. I get more of a brighter appearance. And it looks a little more contrasting and not so like drab, especially when you're using ash tones. So it looks more reflective, and it's mainly the processing time that's important. And for me, I try to stay positive about everything. Sometimes it seems like a long time. If you're hungry, grab something to eat while your client is, getting her hair toned. So I grab something to eat in between the whole time. So I think we're ready to go on to the next.
Okay, and lots of questions about the styling. Did you blow dry? Did you use flat iron, curling iron, hot rollers? What appliances did you use?
I just used a 1.5, but her hair was so heavy that it didn't really hold the curl that well. And I pinned each section so it'll hold, but curling her hair took a long time. I would say it took about past 30 minutes, probably 40, 45 times. It's quite the effort, but her hair doesn't hold curls that well, especially when your hair's that thick and going past your hips. Almost like this, it's gonna, but then I didn't want to make it look too tight either, so it's a 1.5 inch, definitely.
Okay.
So, okay, this is a very interesting, this is an older work of mine, but this one comes with a great story. She came in with this dippy, orangey, ombre look, and she complained about it. And the first thing she showed me was my work, and I said, oh my God. She pulled out a picture of my work and said, this is what I want. And she said, I want it to be white ash. I don't want any sign of red, orange, nothing. I love ash color. I like it just like this picture that you use on this client. And I go, oh, that's very ashy. I don't think it'll look right with your skin tone. I think you need a little bit warmth in your skin, because I told her everything. And I think that we're all, we have clients that turn us, that gives us difficult times even though we're the professional. And I said, okay, I listened to her because she was so adamant and pushy, and she's sure she wants this. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you this ash color that you want, so. As you can see, the before and after, I thought it looked great. But turn to the next slide, please. Okay, so I use the MB Mesh. The reason why I use MB Mesh, this one is the classic backcombing technique that most of us know. So I backcomb this horizontal section, mohawk going up, and I just fold it away from her face so she can breathe. I also use Olaplex, and I use two formulas, 40 volume at the virgin areas and 30 volume on the brassy areas, because 30 volume actually looks like 20 volume with Olaplex, and 40 volume performs like a 30 volume. So the developer is actually not that high like you think. Like a lot of people think 40 volume, oh my God, you're going to melt off her hair, but because of Olaplex, I get that reassurance, and then I get control. So I use the MB Mesh because it doesn't conduct heat like the way foils does. Foils, it can get over light. So I want control. I want to be able to lift, but then not turn her hair like white platinum to where it's melting off or anything crazy like that. So MB Mesh because there's no heat, and then Olaplex for control, and that's why I use that formula. And if you turn to the next slide, I opted to place ISO Illuminate yet again with 7A in between those backcomb foils to kind of cover up some of the brassy demarcation line, which works great. And the reason why I use ISO Illuminate 7A again and process for 20 minutes is because it's pre-blended. It has the N in it, so it doesn't turn into a muddy color or sometimes look green even in the porous areas. And I didn't want that because I thought about using 08GN or something like that with 08 or 06GN green, but then I go, I want a little more control and predictability just because I don't want it to turn green or muddy or, strange tones or go too dark sometimes when you're using, sometimes when you shade the Q, it can go pretty dark on you. You're like, well, damn it, But with ISO 7A, at least, for some reason, I trust it. So anyway, to my surprise, even without foils, her hair lifted to a 10, which I go, woohoo, perfect. We don't have to deal with the gold tones because she wanted her ash. So I use Redken 09V just at that demarcation line for 20 minutes. And while it's damp, of course, and then also Olaplex number 2 afterwards. And I left her ends out just because her ends were so white. It was so white, and I kind of like that. So I kind of wanted like that white end type of look. So I let that happen, and after blow drying the client, she was just like, oh my God, my hair looks white, silver white. And then she says, I don't know. She's like freaking out. And I said, girl, this is what you wanted. You brought in a picture of my work with the clients I use the same formula on. This is what you want. You say you want a platinum ash, and this is something that everybody, is coveted. Everybody wants this platinum ash, no red, no orange thing. So I gave her what she wanted. So then I should go to the next slide here. I quickly tried to gloss it with, oh, what happened?
Well,
Where's the next?
This is where we threw in the special offer just before the
yes.
end. But we can jump back to that. Let's come back to that.
Okay, so I actually regloss her again while it's damp at the shampoo bowl with, that one formula I could not remember for the life of me for some reason. But I glossed her to make it warmer, which looks great to me. And she thought it looked great when we're in there. And then what happened was she drove home and she took a couple selfies. And then she was like, my hair just doesn't look right when I take my selfies. I was like, were you in your car? Were you out in the, in the sun? And she was like, I just want to look good in my selfie. I want my hair to look like it's been sun-kissed. And I told her, I was like, you just contradicted yourself. You want it sun-kissed now, and before you want it ashy. And so I think the reason why I share this is because I feel like everybody can relate to it. We all have that client. Even I have that client. So let me tell you what happened here. So the left is what she left with that day, and I had her come back the next day so I could add more gold into it. So I love the left, but I love the right too. But the left was what she left with after I put the warm toner over it. And again, I forgot that formula because it was a long time ago. I didn't write it down. I think it was like 09GB or something like that. So anyway, so the next day I went in with ISO Illuminate 9G because I trust this formula and it always works on everyone. Somehow when I rinsed her and shampoo her, it just fell off, like it didn't even stick. And I go, what on earth? Her hair didn't even accept the color. So while her hair was damp, I go like, you know what? I'm going to mix 09AA, which is auburn, which is like an orangey color with, let me see here, the 09GB, equal parts, and I don't want it to go dark and orangey, so I say if I just leave it on for 5 minutes, just so it could just have that slight warmth, she'll be happy because she says she doesn't want to be dark either. So I rinsed it, and gosh, it still did not stick. I was like, what is going on? Her hair is healthy. It wasn't like it was porous or anything like that. It was really healthy and strong still, but her hair just didn't want to accept warmth for some reason. Trust me, her hair was healthy. I know. I could see the shine. So this is the only thing that's sick, and this is why I call myself a hair slut, a hashtag hair slut, because I have to have every product. Somehow Schwarzkopf Blonde Me Caramel works. I mixed up the 7 dedicated developer for 5 minutes on her hair damp. I could see it stick immediately in 5 minutes. I go, oh my God, why didn't I just use this from the start and not, even like how to come back the next day? If I would have just done that, I would have saved like all that extra work. Because the next day it took forever just to do all this. But anyway, after seeing her skin color, she's like, I'm a gold girl. I love gold, and now she knows her color. Even though I told her she looks better in gold to begin with, judging from skin color, she didn't listen to me. She was so adamant. And sharing this is just because I also want you guys to know that we all face it, and it's okay. It's okay to not please everyone. I think because we're human. We're human. And for me, like when she said that it was too ashy, I couldn't sleep at night. I was like, what is wrong with this girl? And our first instinct is to blame our client. She's stupid. She doesn't know better. Her and her selfie, that's because her phone sucks. She needs to get a better phone. We're like trying to find every way to blame our client. But I decide to be like, you know what? I'm going to take this as a challenge. Come back in. I want to play with more colors. I'm going to pull out Schwarzkopf. I'm going to pull out some L'Oreal stuff. I'm going to pull out some Matrix and some Kendra or whatever. It gives me more excuse to play with more color. So it was actually playtime for me. I didn't really complain about it. I thought it was very fun. I mean, when it was happening, I was very stressed. But when I really try to turn it into something positive, I think it's the best thing ever because now I learned something. I learned whenever I have a moment, a porosity issue maybe, or if someone's hair doesn't accept certain colors maybe, I don't know, I could always turn to the Blonde Me Caramel to add warmth in 5 minutes and fix the problem right away. And so that's really cool. So I think you're getting
a lot of cheers here. Many people commenting. This happens all the time. You're also asking, do you charge? Did you charge that next day for her to come in to redo the toning?
I did. And the reason why, there's a part of me questioning myself, like, I shouldn't, but really, it's the reason why I charge is because I find that they actually respect you more when you charge. I know it sounds crazy, but I've learned from experience that when I don't, they'll find ways to take advantage of you next time. They'll find ways to like push you and push you and push you back and forth so that you can, oh, I don't like this. And then all of a sudden they have control over you. They have to respect you as a professional. So when they know they pay for something, they respect you. I don't know what it is, but even when I pay for something, I value it more than when it was given to me. I know it sounds weird, but that's the reason why I did it. And it's weird, but it works for me. And it's not that I want to be that greedy person. I'm not that person at all, but I find that, when you get rewarded for work, because you are working, you are blow drying her hair, and she did say she wanted ash, so she learned her lesson while I learned my lesson as well. We both learned together because that's what it is. Nobody's perfect, but if we're all rewarded, and she's so sweet. She actually brought me a basket of like food. She brought me dinner that night because I work after hours for her, and she brought me a basket of fruit, and she brought me flowers because she felt so bad. I said, oh, don't worry about it, and I felt bad too, so I gave her a gift. And so that's how I make my, I gave her like a Kenra blow dry spray, so that's one way you can still charge them, but don't feel bad for it. I just give them something like a product, a hairspray or something, a shine spray, some serum. Oh my gosh, they love that. My clients love it when I just give them like a little gift. And it's also a great way to attract new clients. And if you're building a clientele, for me, I do like little sample goodies, like little small travel size shampoo and conditioner. I reward my new clients every time they refer a new client to me by giving them a little goodie bag. And they love that, and that's what keeps them loyal, and it shows that you care about them. And that's what I do a lot whenever I first started. So if there's anyone out there that just got out of beauty school or building a clientele, that's a great method to, because it's a relationship. Honestly, when our clients in our chair for 9 hours, 6 or 7 hours, it's a relationship. We touch them. They tell us their deepest secrets, their boyfriends, or how they don't like their eyebrows, or how they hate their, this and this, or their freckle. They tell us their most intimate things. So with that being said, I feel that it's a relationship that we have with our clients, and we have to care about it.
It's an amazing surprise, too. It's just something that shows that you care, and it's an amazing surprise that they don't get everywhere else. So I think that's always such a smart idea. I really do.
Yeah, it really is. And also, calling my client by her name and, things like that. The fact that you show you remember them, they love that. So, oh, look, the Flamme Voyage strips. So go ahead, Mary. I know you want some.
So tell us, I know that you used this. It was funny right before the color show, and we didn't have this link up. Well, Flamme Voyage was actually created by Angela Seminara, who, as many of you probably know, is a 3-time British Hairdresser of the Year, and it was really actually developed to make balayage. They call it a new take on balayage, but to make balayage less scary. It was almost like a completely different technique that would create what they felt was like more of a organic, because I mean, you can explain it, but it would hold the hair, it would tape it almost, and the other side would pop up, as you can kind of see, and it would just pull a certain part of hair. But you can explain what it is, but it's certainly a technique that's been extraordinary in terms of colorists using it, and again, as we keep talking about these different kinds of techniques, but I know that you used it as well.
Yes, and actually, some of my followers are the one that recommends me, because I have never used it, but someone said, Guy, you should try this Flamme Voyage. So guess what happened? I said, I'm going to go try it. I want to try everything. And so I decided to, after I played with it, I loved it. I did a video on it to kind of show different, the way I did it. I feel like there is no wrong, there is no right with, foiling or balayaging, because it's art. It's how you feel. It's almost like when you're singing, you have soul. When you're painting, you go with how you feel. You go with your heart. And if you feel like backcombing, backcomb. There's no wrong. There's no right. If you feel like painting in a V or a W, or maybe just scribble around, or maybe put tiger stripes in, that's your art. That's your vision. There is no wrong. There is no right. And I feel that
the other thing. Yeah, Guy, the thing that I just, again, from behind the chair's perspective, that we are so excited about, just sort of blown away by, is all of these techniques are coming from all of you in the salon. So Flamme Voyage was created by a hair colorist. MB Mesh was created by hair colorists who just, came up with this concept and thought this could be done, a different way. BioLights was created by a hair colorist. And so the thing that we're seeing, this incredibly exciting, level of experimentation, and colorists actually coming up with their own solutions. And I think that we've never really quite seen that before. And so I think it's great that you're trying all of this, because I think that your level of experimentation, again, just makes everybody else, I think hair colorists are becoming more and more confident, and they're willing to keep stepping out a bit more over and over and over again. So Beth Minardi just came out with long foils. I mean, there's just so many different things that are happening in the market now.
Exactly, and that's why I love sharing it, because I feel like people need to learn these things. It makes our industry a lot more fun, because you don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah. So by incorporating Flamme Voyage into your salon, it makes you also look different, and it makes you enjoy what you do, and your clients yet again can see that. Like you said, we talk about the BioLights, and we talk about the MB Mesh sheets, and then we're talking about Flamme Voyage. So there's all these different things other than foils that can make our job a lot more fun. I don't even want to look at it as a job. Just look at it as your playground. You're going to go play with your clients and paint away. So that's why the Flamme Voyage is so much fun.
It is really fun, I know. Everybody sort of gasps from stage.
Can you share with people how you use these real quick? There are a lot of questions about that.
Oh, what I do is there's many ways to use this. Like you can actually peel it, the sticky adhesive, which is clear. So when you see that it's clear, what's cool about it is that you can see through the window, so you can see how far the hair has lifted. What I do is I lay that sticky sheet on the hair and then just lift it up 180, and then you can peel off the excess hair that's just kind of clinging. You peel it off and you paint upwards. And when you paint upwards, you can see the look on my client's face. They're just like, what's going on? And then so it makes an interesting topic. They're getting all excited, and and then after that, you can actually use that white board part and just stick it to save, because it'll stick to it. You could save like the extra sheet. But sometimes, I don't know, I don't mind, using the extra, another sticky sheet to stick to it. But that's how you save. Just use the same backside and just stick to it. So,
yeah.
And it's really
and also
cool,
there's
you can see it processing.
Yeah, and there's videos also. If you go to behindthechair.com/flamboyage, there's a video there that walks through the process, and then as Guy was saying, there's a video that he has as well on his YouTube channel, I think is where it is, that explains the process too.
Because it actually looks sparkly.
Different.
I like to say it's dusty and sparkly because the way it's highlighting, it's not like a weave, like you're weaving the hair, and it's not a slice. And yet it's not a backcomb effect, and yet it's not a balayage effect. It has its own entity, so you get your own version of something that's very unique. So I definitely would say it's a weapon in your arsenal that just makes life funner. What I do, I always experiment on my mom or my partner's sister. You got to experiment on somebody, or a mannequin head, but I like to experiment on a real person. You have to.
Yep.
And that's how you get confident.
Michael says thank you. He just asked, do you use mannequin heads or real people to experiment? So that's great. And for those of you asking where you can get the flamboyage, as you see at the bottom, behindthechair.com/flamboyage, we have 2 different sizes now available on the BTC site as well. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, thanks. And then we're moving forward to, if you go on. Oh, this is so important. I think you were talking about this earlier in terms of your managing expectations of clients. This is something that we get asked so much at Behind the Chair as well, is about, what happens when a client tells you what they want. And of course, Kevin, our social media director, has numerous posts that he playfully talks about clients in this way. So talk to us about managing expectations, because I think obviously, as you said, that's so important.
Oh, yeah. Like going back to what I was saying earlier, like our clients think they know everything. They Google their hair symptoms and they try to DIY it and everything like that. And that's why the consultation part is so important, because you make it sound so difficult that they don't understand. Like I literally tell my client, I'm applying an alkaline dim-eye through your mid-shaft. I literally tell them that, because they're like, an alkaline dim-eye? What's that mean? And now I'm using a deposit-only acidic dim-eye to gloss over your hair. I usually don't like to use the word toner. I know that in our hair world, we use the word toner because it's something we understand, just like we understand what bleach means. But our clients don't understand what that means, because they get scared because there's a stigma with the word bleach, and there's a stigma with the word root, and those type of stuff like that. So we try to change it to regrowth or whitener, things to make it sound a little bit more friendlier and less aggressive, because our clients hear bleach and they run. So I usually just avoid it, period. I tell them that, I'm using a ammonia-free, blah, 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 and I'm leaving this on for 20 minutes because this is a pre-blended tone, and I'm going to fuse it in with this, and I'm using this whitener, which gives an 8-level lift. I talk about those type of things, and sometimes we feel like we're giving away too much, but trust me, our clients actually become more loyal to us, and they actually appreciate it, because you actually just, because they know they don't have access to those type of, products. An alkaline dim-eye and acidic dim-eye means nothing to them. They don't know what that means.
It just sounds scary. It just sounds scary. So, and I think, mixing in front of them as well, because so many people ask about that too. And I think, anything that you can do that shows the level of expertise that you have is so important in making sure, because even if they weren't necessarily thinking about doing it themselves, if they're not seeing how difficult it really is and how much you're doing, for them specifically, I think it just becomes, they again, like you said, they have this sense about it, but if you're doing it in front of them and you use all these scary words, yeah, I think for sure.
They don't understand.
They know it's difficult.
Yeah, I talk about the pH. I teach them about pH of water. I talk about like their cuticle, and all those type of things that they don't understand. And I tell them about how there's 19 amino acids that builds up the keratin protein that's in their hair. And so the first amino acid that gets attacked first is like cysteine, and it's going to cause systaic acid. And I start saying all these big words, and they're like, what does that mean? But what's interesting about it is our clients go, oh my God, this guy knows what he's talking about. And if you just do it in conversation, don't try to show off to them. Just do it in conversation, just like it's a normal conversation. Oh, I'm using an alkaline gel on your hair to deposit only while we're shifting your base at the regrowth area. If you're just saying it just like that, they're just like, oh, okay, whatever that means. So
yeah.
So they actually see a level of expertise with you. So.
Guy, there's one thing that was, and then I know we're going to be moving on to the questions, I think, but one of the questions that I have that I think so many of our members would find really fascinating is that the way that you schedule your time is so unique. I've never, ever heard anything like this before. Well, you will schedule out that entire day for one client, literally, and because of what you see in advance. So I'm really curious, and I'm sure everybody else is as well, about how, because when we were having dinner the other night, you were saying there's a certain days that you schedule where you know that you're going to schedule like somebody for an entire client for an entire day, but then there are certain days, I remember you saying, where you're scheduling in a more normal kind of way. Is there any rhyme or reason to that based on clients,
yes.
based on schedule?
Yes. Yes. I have certain days where it's full of retouches. Like I have like 2 guy clients, one gray retouch that I have to cover, a client coming in for a trim. So in those type of situations, I could like book up to several clients to get a full day. But in some days, back when I was accepting new clients, which I'm not anymore, but back when I have no way of predicting what's going to happen. All I had to, I want to make sure they look good. So I always do the consultation through text messaging pictures. I say, go and take pictures of your regrowth. They don't know what that means because they're consumers. So I say, okay, take a picture of your roots. Then they know what that means. I say, okay, so then I see what the situation is. And I'll call them and I'll talk to them, okay, what did you put on your head? They're like, I put Revlon, and it's dark brown, and then I put Garnier Fructis, and then I use Pantene, and then I use Head and Shoulders, and whatever it is that they're telling me. So I kind of pre-plan the problem, and then I go, oh my gosh, this looks like another 7-hour day. So, and I make my time useful. Trust me, I charge for every step. So it's not like I'm losing, because think about it. Like that client I just did, the first one, the one from Russia, I was doing like what, 3-4 steps or something like that. It's like charging for 4 clients. So people might think, oh, he's just doing 1 client a day. How is he making money? Oh, clients don't want to pay for it. Yes, they do. They'll pay for it because you're the expert. Confidence is everything. And let me tell you why. I hear so many women tell me, what they find attractive in a man. They look for confidence. And all of a sudden, a guy that comes up to them and approaches them, they most likely date them because of the confidence versus like someone who's timid or whatever. So with your approach as a professional, when they hear the confidence in your voice, and you go, it's going to cost this much, and this is the starting rate, and this could be how much it is, and it's going to take this many steps, and they trust you. They trust you because why? You make them feel safe. Because the hair on their head is everything. I always tell them, some girls will they'll pay for a Louis Vuitton, expensive shoes, all these things, but then they don't want to pay for their hair. Really? You'll pay for like $1,000 purse or whatever, but you don't want to pay, maybe $600 for your hair or $500 or whatever the case may be, a color correct. They don't want to pay for their hair, really, because when you're naked and you're at home with your man or whoever the case may be, you still have your hair on your head. You don't hold on to your Louis Vuitton while you're trying to make love, or you don't take your Louis Vuitton and your stiletto to the shower with you. And so, and that's why I always tell my clients, the one that try to argue with me and say it's so expensive, and then I look at their bag, and I was like, really? And I put them in their place. I put them in check. You know, and I know it sounds wrong, but I tell them, and it works. They go, oh, right, you're right. My hair is always on my head. And they may not get it at the moment, but like 4 months later, they go, wow, my color really looks good and lasted. They get compliments. And it's really funny. What I find is people need reassurance. They need compliments. You complimenting them is not enough. They almost have to walk out your salon, and then the receptionist go, oh my gosh, your hair is so pretty. Or maybe someone at the mall tell them, oh my God, your hair is amazing. Who did it? Those type of stuff, they need reassurance. Or maybe posting a picture, and then they see a lot of likes. It's like, oh, they feel validated. And it's really, it's just really interesting how a lot of our clients don't know, especially when they're getting a dramatic change, because they're not fully confident of their new look yet. They need the validation. So a lot of times, we're going to talk about social media here. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
A lot of times,
and that's, if I could jump in one point, and again, seeing comments here from some of our attendees, that confidence you speak of, what a great way to use that and share that, and then you can tell the world about it with these social media tips, which you are so very good at.
Confidence is everything. And it's hard to get confidence because confidence starts with knowing who you are and not being embarrassed of who you are, And so, of course, I'm in my 30s. When I was in my 20s, it's more about, like, who am I? You're trying to find everything about yourself growing up. But once I hit my 30s, I go, like, I know what I want. I know who I am. And that projects. So when I talk to my clients, I'm no longer afraid. I just tell them like it is, and they go, oh, okay. And they see the confidence in you, and they believe in you. And that's the most important thing. And sometimes, as hairstylists, we're very prideful, and we want to be defensive. When our clients tell us, I don't like this blonde piece, we jump into a defense mode because we're so proud of what we did. But really take it constructively. Take a deep breath. I know we're all prideful. Take a drink of water. And that's what I do. I breathe, and I go, okay, tell me what's wrong with your hair. Why don't you like? Okay. And I tell them what's going on. What can I do for them? Because I tell them, well, do you want the tone to be perfect, or you worry about the integrity of your hair? Which one's first? Because if I go back in and I lift your hair again, it can, cause a little destruction. Maybe we should wait for your next appointment in 6 weeks, and I'll go back and hit that area, and that's a great way to retail product too, just kind of like let them hold the product, tell them about this reconstructive protein, send them home with the Olaplex 3, and things like that. And by that time when they come back, the hair is strong enough, and you could do a new trim or whatever you need to do by then. So to me, confidence is everything. So let's go to the next slide.
So we are on social media. Oh, let's see, we'll go back here. You're going to talk to them a little bit about social media tips here.
This is a very interesting one because I was just talking about it with one of my friends on the phone this morning because when I started a lot of my Facebooking or Instagramming type of stuff, a lot of people were telling me, oh, don't wear that shirt. People will see your big chest. And I was like, oh, okay. They said, you can't do that. It looks unprofessional. Oh, you can't talk like that. You can't use the word hair slut. You can't use the word hairgasm, because I've been using the word hairgasm and hair slut forever, and I felt like I have to hold it back because people were making me question myself. And I was like, what? Why can't I be me? And what I realized, that backfired on me because I start attracting people that I had to be fake around. And what happens is when they saw the real me, through my captions or through my video, they see my personality. And if they like me for who I am, I actually have a great time with my clients. They come in, we laugh together, and it makes work so fun because they know you already. You don't have to put on a facade, and it makes your work environment so comfortable. And I think that's a true success through social media. Don't be afraid to be yourself because we're hairstylists. We're allowed to let our expression show through and attract the clients we want. And I think that's the key. And some people may disagree and say things, because they work in a different atmosphere. But however, with the atmosphere I work in, it's very flexible for me to be myself. And for me, I find a success from keeping it real and attracting the clients that that don't try to change who I am. Because a lot of times we try to be woe is me when it comes to doing hair, but we don't realize it's really all about our clients. So we're actually we're filtering out clients that may not like you, or it may be an uncomfortable situation. Because remember, going back to what I said earlier, it's like a relationship. If you get to know someone, like how when you date somebody, you meet them at the grocery store, you don't really know them, and then you get to know them, you're like, oh, I don't like them. But now through social media, you almost, like with eHarmony or whatever it is, you get to know what music they like. Oh, he likes Mariah Carey. He likes R&B music. He likes hip-hop. And then all of a sudden you go, I can connect with this person. We'll get along. It's the same thing with our clients. They get to know your personality, and that's where the success comes in. It's that work becomes your playground. Creating a fan page.
I so agree with you on that, because you are what you attract. I mean, I can't agree with you more on that. And you and I have had this discussion several times. I mean, we've had people behind the chair, who don't like certain T-shirt sayings that we have. And what I always say is, I'm super serious about the work that we do. My whole team is, but we don't ever take ourselves too seriously. And at the end of the day, we're working with hairdressers, and I don't know many hairdressers that don't really love having a great time. And I can't agree with you more on that. And I never really thought about that idea from a client's perspective. But everything that you do on social media and what you show is attracting a certain kind of client. And wouldn't that be better to be honed in on that versus the opposite, where it's not really the personality is not relating. So I so commend you for making the decisions that you've made about how you're so willing to be exactly who you want to be on social media. And I think that the audience has absolutely proven to you with the growth of the audience that they feel exactly the same way. And I think that all of us commend you for that, for making.
And I think that's truly my number one tip for social media, building a clientele. I know it sounds scary at first, but you will have a better career in life when you attract those clients, because it's all about our health. We need, when you get stressed and so uncomfortable, work will burn you out. You can't let that burn you out. You have to create the right atmosphere, attract the clients you want, and things like that. Otherwise, nowadays, our clients can attack us in several ways, because they could start saying crazy stuff about you on Yelp and making up lies, so they think that they're like Simon Cowell from American Idol, so you got to be, seriously, I'm serious. So it's very good to attract the clients and let them know who you are before they come in, so that way everybody's comfortable. So, yeah. So with Facebook, what is very interesting is that show your work, take pictures of all your clients and put it on your open up a business page. So that way it's professional, and it's only put like business things on there. Put like your hair work on there versus naked pictures of yourself and stuff like that. To start off building your clientele. But that's okay if you want to show that and that's your personality. That's cool too. So, but if you're starting out, it's great to kind of let them see your work first. So and also you can have them check in on your Facebook page, because when they check in on your Facebook page, you can, it ends up being shared to their wall, and their friends can see it. Oh, Sophia got her hair done by, Guy Tang or whoever, and then they might want to go too. So it's actually a networking link effect. And also, like I said, always rewarding your clients who refer new clients. So I think that's the best, because every client is a walking promotion. So you can also build your audience by actually sharing your all your personal friends over to your, invite them over to cross over to your business page. As you can see here, build the audience, cross them over. So that way, come look at my hair work. Everybody that you currently have as friends can see your work. And you can also create this whole networking link on Facebook. So.
And my recommendation on this as well for salon owners that are listening in is also try to get all of your stylists to do the same thing. So invite all of invite their friends, clients, et cetera, that are coming over as well. And then do some sort of giveaways, because giveaways are always really helpful, and it will help you, capture some growth because you need to develop a certain amount of people before you're able to really build it in a bigger way. So try to get all of your stylists over there as well to invite their friends and family too, and their clients, of course.
Here's like a collage of a bunch of the before and after.
Amazing.
One of the most dramatic one is that one on the right in the middle. that was very intense. That was a lot of fun for me. So definitely, post pictures of your work on Instagram. Hashtag, whatever it is, color correction. Behind the chair, because you guys repost incredible work, and it gets you noticed, and it gives you credibility, validation. And who doesn't like that validation from behind a chair?
Well, and also, we want, Kevin Gibbons, our social media director, we want to see the real work. What we've noticed by far is that the real work is resonating. When I say real work, meaning coming out of the salon, not a professional photo shoot, is actually being, it's just exploding in terms of the views. And so please make sure that you're doing that. We're scanning every single day to look at the work that's there. And it is really amazing, with over 200,000, I think, Instagram followers that we're at now. It's amazing that when we tag you, of course, we will be tagging you, how many new followers that you build as well. So it's all sort of this love game, isn't it, guys?
Yes, it is. It's giving each other love and credit. I think it's important to show love and and watermark your work. That's so important. And I know watermarking looks ugly. I hate putting my name all over my pictures. So I didn't have a choice. This picture that you see here went viral all over Pinterest and all over Tumblr and all over what have you. And people start, it just went viral. Like, we're talking about millions of repins when I posted this up. And they even got to the point where they photoshopped my name off of my picture. I don't know how they did it. But that's why I try to put my watermark all over the corners, and people who follow me have been noticing I watermark my picture because it's very important because people know it's your work, and when people Google, it gets linked back to you, and that helps you build clientele and build your business in the salon because they're going to Google your salon and Google your name, and it's going to come back to whether it's your Yelp account or your business page or your website or whatever. Watermarking your picture is important, and even though it ruins the aesthetic of the picture, it is what it is. I didn't have a choice. And so here it is. And always be positive on social media.
Yes.
Because keep in mind, we all see it. Sometimes people think we don't see what they write, but it's on social media forever. People screenshot it. So be careful with being negative. Sometimes people come to the page and they'll say crazy stuff like, that's ugly, or this is this, or this. But I say, so always keep a positivity because people see it. People will see it and take recognition of you. People most likely take more recognition of you and respect you more when you're positive, definitely. So with that being said,
and also we're all together in this, and I think that's the most important part. Is it's okay to have an opinion as long as you're kind in the opinion. I think that's where the difference is. But
definitely.
We're all sort of together in this, so we've always sort of been surprised by, and behind the chair, if somebody's too negative, we will disallow them from being on the site. And I've said to Kevin several times, if we're in that position, somebody continues to do it, at some point we'll not allow them to be on because the negativity is not, it's not good to be consistently negative all the time. There's got to be something positive there.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be known for that. You don't want to be, let's call it infamous or whatever,
No,
and
yeah,
that's
exactly.
not good, especially for growing your business too. So with that being said, I do have an Instagram, a Twitter, a Snapchat, and on my Snapchat, it's a lot of fun stuff. Like I actually post like quick snippets, and my YouTube channel. So there's like fun education that features new products and interactive things, and Guy Tang Hair Artist fan page on Facebook, and of course Pinterest. I love Pinterest too because a lot of my clients actually found me on there, so it's really interesting. And Vine, and so you get to have fun. And that's how you can show different facets of yourself. Like sometimes if you feel like twerking and jiggling things, there's an appropriate place, and do, with Snapchat I can do silly things. I karaoke with my client the other day, but we did it on Snapchat. I didn't want to put it on my Instagram because it won't look right for the aesthetics, But on Snapchat it's fun because it's only up there for 24 hours. So, and then my website comes in.
Yeah, I just want to say to everyone, because some of you I think may be thinking that we're finishing up. Just so you know, we're not finishing it. Guy, are you going to hang here with a little while with us? We have a whole Q&A that's going to be scheduled. And before we do that, for those of you, will you just bounce over for me, Janet, for just a second, back over to Guy's class in Chicago that's going to be coming up. I think it's later in the presentation. You don't have to go back. Yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of this. And then we're going to go through some questions. So I know we're running a little bit behind, so just a couple key things I want everyone to know. Tomorrow you will get a video replay of this and the e-Ploma. So if you're not able to stay with us, since we're running over, which is a nice, wonderful thing, we've got some Q&A questions that have come up that some of you have asked, and I'm sure that all of you will appreciate knowing the answers to. So hang with us. Otherwise, we would love to see you in Chicago. Guy's going to be on stage for a 2-hour session. It'll be about 90 minutes of a class that will carry through a number of different areas. What were you saying earlier, Guy? It's going to be what did you say? That was so funny.
A Beyonce moment.
Beyonce, yes. It's a little bit of everything. Oh no, and then and you have to, it's an opportunity to be able to see Guy and meet Guy, et cetera. So we're going to be doing that in Chicago the weekend of our Stylist Choice Awards, which will be at the Chicago ABS show. And you can go to behindthechair.com/Chicago, get more information, and purchase tickets. And I already noticed that we've got a number of you that have already purchased tickets to seeing Guy in Chicago, so that's super exciting. And it's also our 15th anniversary Stylist Choice Awards as well. So if you want to pick up your tickets to that, which we neglected to put up, you can go to behindthechair.com/SCA. And now what we're going to do is just back up again, and we've got 7 or 8 questions for Q&A. These came up over several hundred questions came in, and so we grabbed the ones I think that, or actually Guy did, that he thought were going to be the most relevant for our audience. So if you want to stick around with us, that's great, and we're going to go through these Q&As. If you're not able to, then again, you'll receive the replay, and we so appreciate you spending the time, but we're going to spend a little bit of time on some of the Q&As, which I think will be really helpful for everyone. So with that, let's go to number 1.
So I've been seeing a lot of questions like this that are very similar. How do I decide to foil or balayage? Balayage, one thing I like about it is that it's fast. I can get through the areas faster than foiling because I don't have to pull out the foil. I don't have to weave the hair. I don't have to, lay foil on top of foil. So if I get to balayage, I will balayage first before I foil. So, but sometimes you got to use both or one or the other. Foils, you get heat conduction, so the hair can be pushed a little bit lighter. You can, even if it doesn't push, you could even try to push it with heat, and it doesn't dry out as fast because it's under the foils and the heat at the same time. But for a natural effect, I prefer balayage just because it looks more sun-kissed, especially here in Southern California. Everybody wants to look beachy. I get the look that I want quicker and faster. So I would say every client is different. So I wouldn't discriminate either method because they're necessary. You need both because, don't discriminate. That's what I would say. So, okay, here's the second question. In most of my YouTube videos, I balayage in 2 steps, one for your base color and one for your highlights. Do you ever believe that for some clients it's able to do everything in one procedure if the colors are properly applied? Of course, absolutely. I think that actually in reality, I did one yesterday with the gold. I just placed the retouch at the scalp, and then I balayage at the same time. It saves so much time. You like hit 2 birds with 1 stone and do a quick gloss or toner, whatever you want to call it, and I could get them out in like less than 3 hours with a haircut, maybe even 2 hours. So with that method, I love. So in my videos, the reason why I do it that way is more of a beginner method. I do it for people who are still maybe in beauty school or still learning. So that way they get to learn the foundation, the fundamentals, and a little bit of a teaser of it. So plus sometimes if the base grew out so far, like it's 6 inches down, you definitely have to do it in 2 steps because you have to pull the base through, and then you don't want hot roots because that's not cute. So you have to think about all those types of situations. And If you have to do it in 2 steps, charge accordingly. Charge them separately. That's what I would do. Okay, so if someone came out bronzy or orange, what can you do to fix it? Well, this is very, this happens a lot, especially when you're working with darker hair or especially with color correction. You deal with lots of bronzing, and I don't ever overpromise, especially if they're a natural level 2. I would say I will give them a chestnut result. They have, you could do red. They have options of red brown, copper brown, gold brown. I feel like I've been posting a lot more warm tones this season because gold has been very sexy. A lot of my clients actually have been asking for warmth all of a sudden, so I've been doing a lot of warmth, and I feel that instead of fighting nature, I work with nature and enhance it, when doing these colors. So sometimes I let them know. Say like, I know you love ash, but this is unachievable today. Because even if you gloss them or tone them with a level 6 or 7 ash or whatever to get out the orange, it's going to appear dark. Because in their eyes, it doesn't look like light, because ash absorbs light. It doesn't reflect light. So they're going to see it looks the same. It looks like my regular hair color. So I let them know that ash will always look muted. They won't see the drastic change. So honestly, if they chose to do red brown, brown copper, even red, I think you actually see more of a difference, and it's actually healthier because you're not trying to push the hair and fight against nature. So question number 4, do you back home when you do ombre, do you prefer foil, saran wrap? When you do ombre, that's a similar question to the first one, but yeah, you saw me back home with the NB mesh earlier. You could do it with foils as well, and that's okay. It's more of a, I used to do that method maybe 2 years ago quite a bit, but like now I've been turning into balayage a lot more with saran wrap just because I feel like we're all about not high contrast this year. We're starting to see more tone on tone. So we're talking like maybe if they're a natural level 1, their highlight will be a level 5. If they're a natural level 4 or 5, their highlight will be more of a 7 or 8. So we're seeing harmonious colors, tones that are playing off of one another. So it doesn't have to be from black to platinum blonde, So I think with that being said, people want more natural organic because they have more longer wear of it. So question number 5, I have been told to never use anything other than dim eye color for low light. If they need gray coverage, with my experience, you need 10 or 20 volume developer to get the coverage. What are your thoughts? Now, with the alkaline dim eye, when you cover gray with it, you get like a camouflage effect. So I do use camouflage for gray coverage with alkaline dim eye on men. The reason why is because men don't really like to see warmth, and they also don't like to see a strong shift. I don't want to stereotype men, but I'm just saying like just the majority of men. A lot of men don't want to look like they just step out the salon. They almost want to look like they didn't do anything. So with that being said, I use a lot of like, color camos, like I know Red can make one, and certain brands have alkaline dim eye. They're not carrying a men's-specific color line. Yes, when I low light, I do use a dim eye color for the most part. I don't like to pull permanent color or a gray coverage color through the ends because it usually looks muddy, and you don't need to pull ammonia through hair that's already porous. So next question. Question number 6. How do you decide what to charge for a corrective color? Go back to what we said. During a consultation, you let them know. You let them know beforehand so they don't hate you later. They get mad at you. Because when you lay out the law, they know before they even start. So when you give them the bill at the end, they're not surprised. I don't like to be surprised, honestly. Whatever it is, like just tell me what it is so I know what to prepare for. So that's and be proud of your rates. I feel like a lot of us are so scared to charge our clients because we feel like, oh, that's too much. You feel bad for charging them. But think about the school that you went through, all the classes, and think about this webinar that you're listening to right now. Think about all the effort you put into education. I think that those are things that a lot of clients or consumers forget. They forget that we continue our education, and I applaud a lot of you guys for being here, listening to me, and continue education, especially because, it's what keeps us all passionate. So I don't even know what to say. Just know that everyone's signed on to listen to me. So question number 7. It says, I live in a small town in the Midwest, and you know what? I'm from Oklahoma originally. And I used to work in an area where customers always want new looks, now that I'm working independently in a smaller town, it's been hard to get clients to try new color techniques. Do you have any suggestions on how to convince them to try these new looks? Well, definitely if they have Instagram or Facebook, or if they even, look at celebrities on, like the Golden Globe awards or these award shows, or, they could see what's hot. Point out the things that they're seeing. Look at J-Lo, look at her hair color. Or a lot of times our clients bring in pictures of like Britney Spears or something. I said, girlfriend, that's extensions. She's wearing extensions, so you have to let your clients know those type of stuff. Like, you can achieve that if you're wearing extensions or whatever, so you have to let them know the difference between celebrities and or whatnot. And also, like, if they're bringing in someone else's work, also, isolate what needs to be done for them. So let them know what's trending, So, and also you set the trend too. So be confident and own your artwork. Okay, question number 8. How do you choose between warm versus cool tones for clients to make them look their best? Well, I look at their eye color and their skin color. Usually if their skin is really pink and fleshy, the last thing you want to do is turn their hair pink usually. Otherwise, they might disappear. You kind of go, oh, something is off. Or if they're very yellowy in skin tone, and then you turn their hair yellowy. So sometimes it can wash them out. But hey, I have certain clients that want to be washed out. They want to, they love yellow, or they love pink regardless. So if they're really pinky, I generally go for golden tones because it complements their skin better and it separates the hair from their face. So if they're taking a selfie, they don't blend in and wash out. You need the complementary color. So you look in the color wheel, you look the opposite of yellow is violet. So if someone's very yellowy, I usually tend to tone with a violet, or someone's really pinky, which is a red-violet, I go to the opposite side. Sometimes you'll see gold. So always take that into consideration unless they're doing a fashion color. Unless they go, make me have green, purple, orange hair, then that's an exception. So always think about those things. And that's how I determine. Also look at their eye color. If their eyes are like blue, determining the red shade, I usually go towards the copper versus burgundy, violet, reds, because then it doesn't complement. Usually blue eyes look great with copper tones, and green eyes look great with red tones, and things like that. So, is there another question, or is that?
That was it. We really are coming to the end of the evening, where we go back and summarize some of the special opportunities we have tonight, and thank you so much, both you and Mary, for being with us this evening. Let me get through a couple of these quick announcements and then have you say your goodbyes for the night, if that's okay. Again, reminder that we now have at behindthechair.com/flamboyage the mess strip that you saw this evening. In addition, as Mary said, you don't want to miss Guy Tang in Chicago for the first time in 7 years. behindthechair.com/Chicago, and I'm sure Guy would be happy to see all of you there. Right, Guy? We're looking forward to that so much.
A selfie with everyone.
I definitely want to thank everyone for tuning in to this webinar, because it's really exciting. I love sharing, and I love educating, and I think it's so much fun that we're able to enhance the industry, and we could, that they learned something from it, took something from it, and grow and just continue being passionate about the industry. So I'm definitely excited that I'm a part of this tonight with everyone.
No, it's exciting, isn't it, that you can be in LA, we can be in Chicago, and everyone can be around the world listening in. And I think that that's what, it's a great thing about technology, I think, in many ways. And we're excited about, the relationship that we have with you for sure. But I think that all stems from, what you've done with making colors more confident. And I just think the level of reality that you have as the person that you are. And I think we just, like I said before, I can't commend you enough for just doing that, because anything that we can do as an industry together to make people more excited about the craft and to make people more excited and confident about what they do. And I think that you give so much information so openly, and I know that everybody, it goes without saying that everybody that's here on this webinar is so grateful to you for doing that. And I know on behalf of all of them, I'd like to thank you for doing it, because you didn't have to, and look what's happened now. There are so many better colors because of you. So we want to say thank you for that.
And also, if I don't respond immediately to questions, it's usually I'm either asleep or working or in the shower. So I try to get back with questions as much as I can. So I appreciate everyone who do. And honestly, one more thing I'd like to add is that be interactive. Because I know that I talked to some of my some other hairdressers at the show. They said, I follow you, but I never wrote anything on your wall. And I think one of the best things to do is get interactive, to be recognized, so people can see your work and to be proud of your work, and don't be so shy. Be proud and put yourself out there. So definitely, because we do take notice, Mary. I mean, you check the comments on Facebook sometimes and Instagram, and I see it too. So I think it's very good to just interact and participate, because sometimes other followers will see that you commented and they end up following you too. So that's very important. That don't be silent, because you have a voice, and that you can leave comments and interact and share with one another. So
yeah.
Right. Well, thank you. And thanks so much. And I will finish up the last few announcements here real quick. We also will have Stephanie Brinkerhoff with us in Chicago, Hair by Steph, an incredible updo and braiding stylist. We're looking forward to having her with us very much on Monday, March 23rd. We also have, can't forget, the Color Cut and Style Show 2015, September 27th through 29th in New Orleans, returning to the Hyatt. BehindTheChair.com.
And I was just going to say that I know that a lot of people are asking about tickets going on sale, and everybody's concerned about getting tickets because we've been sold out so fast over the last 3 years. So if you've been with us before, you're going to get the first option to be able to purchase tickets to the show. And you'll get about 2 weeks. So for those of you that were with us, know that you're going to get the first option to purchase tickets. And then for those of you that have not been with us before, tickets will probably go on sale. I'm anticipating sometime around the last week of January. Just so, but please make sure that you go to BehindTheChair.com/reflection, which is the new 2015 show, and put your information in with your email and so forth, and we'll make sure to be able to get that information out to you as often as it becomes available and let you know when tickets go on sale.
Yes, year 4. We're super excited. Year 4 for Color Cut and Style.
Yeah. Yeah,
and if you missed 2014, it's not too late to enjoy and appreciate that education as well. You can get the Color and the Cut and Style show 8 DVD sets for only $4.95. You have presentations from all of the incredible companies that were part of that great show this past year at BehindTheChair.com/color-DVD. And then we also have an extremely powerful educational bundle here for you this evening for only at $199. The Color Show 2013 in Nashville, along with our 4 most popular best-selling step-by-step books, the how-tos on cutting, styling, celebrity color formulas. Again, BehindTheChair.com/education bundle. Mary, any quick thoughts on this? This is an amazing powerhouse of education.
I think it's a great, this was not 2014, this is 2013, so I think it's an amazing, I think 9 hours of education. And then these are all the step-by-steps on celebrity color formulas and the step-by-steps that have been in the magazine over the last, and more that have been in the magazine over the last 5 years. So it's from all the best hairdressers and colorists in the world. So. But it's also a great opportunity to pick up an incredible color show as well, and it will give you a chance to be able to experience what color is like, and then hopefully we'll see you back with us in 2015. So we're excited. It's going to be an amazing show this year, as it is every year, but we're really, really excited about this year coming up. Anything else? My computer went dead.
Oh, no. And with webinars, our last special, it just died. Did the power go out?
It really did.
Oh, no.
I'm blind at the moment.
The last one here is the webinar 50% off all BTC webinars in our bookstore. If you go to BehindTheChair.com/webinars, you get an incredible collection of a variety of educators.
I didn't know that.
No.
Did I approve that special?
Yes, that was in the collection.
That's a good one. You guys will want that. So anyway, sure. It's because they hung out with us for the entire time.
That's right. And as you see on this next to the last slide here, follow Behind the Chair, all the different forms of social media that we talked about earlier, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. Kevin Givens is our amazing social media director that keeps you informed, keeps you entertained, keeps you enlightened, and he loves the time that you invest spending time with him. And then, as always, education on demand 24/7 at behindthechair.com/webinars, previously recorded webinars from a myriad of colorists, stylists, business classes, anything you need to be better in your salon tomorrow. So with that said, good evenings, good nights from Mary and from Guy.
Yeah, Guy, thanks
everyone.
for being with us. Janet, thanks for hosting. You have the most amazing voice all the time. Janet's our show director, and she is responsible for everything that happens with our shows and all of our webinars. So thank you so much, Janet, for being with us tonight and all the great things that you do. And Guy, thanks again. You're always so much fun to be with. I know everybody else feels the same way, so thank you for being here. You want to say the final word?
I just want to thank everyone again, and follow me on Instagram if you're not already. And see you guys out at the show. See you guys out at the show, and I can't wait to meet everybody in person and just have a good time.
And hear your laugh in person. So many people have commented they love your laugh. So thank you for that as well.
Oh, really? Oh, gosh.
It should be like a phone, for your phone, right?
Yeah,
for the ring. We hope we see everybody in Chicago. It will be an amazing opportunity to see Guy and to see his work live and in person with, real models, not mannequins. And we hope to see you at Stylist Choice Awards. It's our 15th anniversary next month for Behind the Chair. So for all of you, you guys who know me on stage, and I'm always crying for all of you out there, thank you for an amazing 15 years. And I just couldn't be more thankful and grateful, appreciative of all of you. And we hope that we've been of assistance and help to all of you out there. So we look forward to seeing you at Stylist Choice Awards, Chicago, and all over the rest of the world. And so for that, Guy and Janet,
thank you. And I have to go because I have to work on a client. I have a late night.
Oh, no. That's what happens in LA. So thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. And we'll talk to you very soon. Okay, bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.